Hi, welcome back to this space. If you found yourself clicking on this video at this exact moment, I don't really see it as random. I tend to feel that some part of you, something that's been quietly holding on for a while, is looking for a place where it doesn't have to keep pretending anymore. This week's theme is stepping out of pretending, and I want to say this first. This theme isn't about accusing you of lying, and it's not saying that your life so far has been wrong. It's more like this. You already know there's a part of you that hasn't been taken seriously for a long time. Not by others, but by you. The astrology this week is very honest and also very direct. We start with the Leo full moon. A Leo full moon isn't really about performance or confidence. At its core, it asks, do I allow myself to be seen? But this time, the message is very clear. Avoid hesitation. Avoid overworking. Avoid saying one thing while feeling another. This isn't telling you to stop trying. It's asking you something quieter but deeper. Who are you trying to hold everything together for? Then we have Uranus going direct in Taurus. This energy is gentler than it sounds. It's not about blowing everything up. It's about looking forward, returning to what's true, and realizing that getting back on track doesn't mean changing your entire path. Sometimes it just means choosing what you already knew was right. And finally, Mercury moves into Pisces. Mercury in Pisces isn't great at explaining things clearly, but it's very good at expression, writing, music, images, leaving something instead of explaining it. So this week isn't ideal for forcing clarity or trying to justify yourself. It's a time to let honesty flow out in the way it naturally wants to. With this energy in mind, these were the questions I asked while pulling the cards. For the tarot, I asked, what inner desire are you most ready to face honestly right now? What made you hold back or suppress this desire in the past? And if you choose honesty, how might your life slowly return to alignment? For the Oracle card, I asked one simple question. What support does the universe want to offer you? Around honesty and self-expression? As I was pulling the cards, one thing was very clear. These weren't cards that were carefully drawn, they jumped. And when cards jump like that, it usually means the message is already ready. It's not waiting for permission. So as we move into the reading, you don't need to take everything I say. Just notice which words stay with you. Those are the ones meant for you. The main tarot card that came through is the Magician, upright. And it wasn't gently drawn from the deck. It flew out. When a card jumps like that, it usually means only one thing. The energy is already mature. It no longer wants to be held down. The Magician upright is often about willpower, beginnings, creation. But in this reading, it feels more like it's saying, I already know what I want to do. I'm just waiting for you to admit it. The Oracle card that came alongside it is Entropy. This one also jumped. And its message is calm, but very honest, almost brutal in a quiet way. Some structures can no longer be maintained, not because you didn't try hard enough, but because they were never meant to last this long. So this reading isn't really about what cards did you pull. It's more like this. Under the light of the Leo full moon, the universe simply drops a whole mask onto the ground and says, that's enough. When I hold the Magician, the Leo full moon, and Mercury in Pisces together. I keep seeing a small dragon, not the kind that breathes fire and conquers the world, but a dragon that knows it's moving and trusts that movement. The Leo energy here isn't about dominance. It's about saying, I allow myself to be seen. And the Pisces energy isn't confusion. It's saying, I know I'm flowing. I'm not lost. This dragon isn't charging at life. It simply says, very calmly, I don't want to pretend anymore that I don't know what I want. Its fire isn't a summer blaze. It's more like an autumn fire, something that can burn for a long time, something that can keep you warm, something that doesn't need to prove how big it is. This lines up perfectly with the astrology. The Leo full moon says, don't live with split intentions. Uranus direct in Taurus says, return to alignment, not change lanes. Mercury in Pisces says, it's not about explaining clearly. It's about writing it, saying it, living it. There's also an interesting numerical layer here. The Magician carries the energy of 1. Entropy resonates with the energy of 7. 1 is the beginning. I exist. I start. 7 is integration. I've already walked a path. So this isn't reckless impulse. It's more like the first time you're willing to take responsibility for what you truly want. Now, let's talk a little more about entropy. On the card, there's a red and white banded snake. Red and white carry the symbols of life and death, impulse and reason, poison and medicine. The snake isn't an attacker here. It's an executor of cycles. It moves through the skull not to destroy, but to show us something very important. An ending is not the same as a mistake. That rainbow-like reflection on the skull's forehead isn't a symbol of hope. It's the light of truth, reflecting at the very last moment. When the pretending self finally dies, it can still leave behind a strange kind of beauty, because it once protected you through a certain chapter of your life. The psychedelic patterns on the ground aren't chaos. They're what happens when you stop lying and your mind temporarily can't explain reality yet. So the real message of stepping out of pretending is this. This isn't about asking whether you should be yourself. It's about the fact that you can no longer pretend you aren't already that person. The Magician says, you know how to begin. Entropy says, you no longer need to maintain that structure. Together they say, don't rush to rebuild. Let what doesn't belong to you finish collapsing first. Here are 3 gentle meditation phrases for you. You can return to them whenever you need. I no longer shrink myself just to be understood. I allow truth to bring temporary disorder. My fire knows where it needs to go. This week's energy guidance is very clear. Try not to overwork, hesitate, or say you want something while continuing to move at the wrong rhythm. Instead, you can write poetry, write scripts, write honest words. Let your creation speak for you. Allow choices to surface naturally, instead of forcing a decision. And finally, thank you to every soul who stayed with me until the end. When the universe gently knocks again, we'll meet here once more. Until then, take care and goodbye.